So this is from ABS CBN News, and they did an exclusive interview, which was published about 4 hours ago. Now, because I don't understand Tagalog, I can only understand like maybe 10%, especially because the interviewer does ask questions in English, and so I'm able to understand some parts of it. But other than that, I really don't understand the the like her answers, right? So fortunately, ABS CBN did publish some articles on it, so we'll go over them. But just I wanted to quickly highlight because this is a lot of the comments. I even had a comment asking, "Can someone do a summary of the key questions and answers?" But from the comments that I'm reading, many people do not believe her because they think that she is even lying here. And I find it really interesting. Now, I'll put the link to this interview. If you do understand Tagalog, you can go and listen to it and figure for yourself. But it sounds like she's trying to turn the story into one about a personal attack, and almost like it's a harassment for her family history, for her identity, when in fact I think the core of the issue, as I've done in my last video, is about her ties to this Chinese scam organization, potentially even working on behalf of the CCP. So she's deliberately trying to paint this image that she is a victim here, being bullied, cyber bullied, being pressured to almost like to become an outsider, to be pushed out of the Filipino society, which clearly is not the main problem with this entire case, right? Now, if you've been following this case, or if you watched my last video, I particularly talked about how the center core of this case is not about her per se, in the fact that she may just be a front for a much bigger problem, but she's now painting this story as if it's about her family history. Now, clearly that's part of it, but if you just take a look at these comments, everyone seems to think that she is lying here, which I personally, I'm still like 98% on the fact that she's lying. But let me just go over some of the articles. So this is one of them. Exclusive Mayor Alice Guo says she's searching for her biological mom. Again, that's fine. Go search for your mother. Everybody would be happy, right? That's a pretty private matter. But again, that's not the core of the issue that we're focusing on, which again is those illegal scamming systems that they put up under this front of a pogo. Again, if you don't know what a pogo is, it's a Filipino offshore gaming organization or gaming group. Basically, other countries, like say from China, they can come in and they can build these casinos, etc. But precisely because they use the casino or the gaming as the front, they're able to do things like human trafficking, detention, illegal detainment, and basically hire these Chinese people to work inside those as scammers. Now, this can also extend into other things like you have the pornographic side of things, right? You have the entertainment, all of these things that you can even, there could be like other pogos doing drug trafficking, all these things, human trafficking. So it's cool that she wants to make this seem like her focus is on finding her mother, which is one of the lies, but it's not the main part of the story. So again, here it says, after talking about her past in order to prove her citizenship, embattled Bam Bam Tarlac Mayor Alice Guo expressed hope that she could still meet her biological mother. And so this is because of the interview here, right? So this is just the reporting version of this interview. She was asked by the interviewer about her mother, because she says that her mother is Filipino, and she says that she grew up in the Philippines. But again, part of that is she can't remember any detail for her childhood except for that she was homeschooled by one of teacher Rubelin. Okay, so again, I have to do a lot of translation here. Here it says, a while ago it was a bit impossible. I can't say my privacy on camera. I don't want people to judge me, and especially I don't want people to tell me, oh, that's the maid's son. I don't want that. There's a lot of details here, which it's about, her background that doesn't really matter to us. I don't think anybody would care if she was a maid's son or a chef's son or, a janitor's son, daughter, right? It doesn't really matter. You can be whoever you want, but that's not the point. So let's continue. It says here, I'm thankful too, before this happened, I was angry with my biological mother because I think it's supposed to be she left me. But after this case, here, why don't I just do a whole Google Translate instead of translating this entire thing here. Okay, and then she says, maybe it's a blessing in disguise. I don't want to see her. It should be her. I don't know why it's being translated to him. I want to see in her eyes for her to tell me that she loves me, blah, 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 blah. She left me 38 years ago. So here she adds the detail that during the initial hearing, she could not answer this question, right? But now she's saying that, oh yeah, 38 years ago, the mother left her, and that means that she at least remembers a part of the childhood, right? But it doesn't match to her previous answers. Okay, so this is the one about the mother. And then, very interesting, Beijing. So this is actually the Philippines media, again, the same one, ABS-CBN. They asked the Chinese embassy in Manila about the alleged presence of Chinese sleeper cells in the Philippines. Again, this is related to that, right? So in my original analysis, I had done that there's three possibilities. Number one is that she is simply a front for a scam network, possibly no connection to China. Second, because of the circumstantial evidence that we know so far, that the scam network she was closely tied with had Chinese people in it, they're being deported. This could likely be a case where Beijing has infiltrated into this type of groups, trying to get them to work on behalf of the CCP, right? In this local area, they can do things that are impossible to be done by the Chinese embassy, such as perhaps, trying to detain dissidents, trying to control the local diaspora of the Chinese population. All these things are very possible to be done from an illegal organization rather than an official one. Or the third, which is that she was a spy to begin with, and she was dispatched to here, and they've set up this front to basically create this persona for her. And the goals obviously could be very sinister, considering it could be they're running for political office, they're trying to gain control in the local area. Fundamentally, they want to establish a pro-China sort of scene, a pro-China force. Okay, so here, and then again, this is the statement from the Embassy of China, says, it opposes xenophobic sentiments by ways of accusations that are malicious and groundless. The embassy also claimed that someone is behind the allegations. All right, so very interesting, because now they're portraying this as a racial thing, right? This is xenophobia, this is racism, that the Philippines is now targeting people, Chinese population in the Philippines. Clearly, right, that's what they're trying to push, but that's actually not the case. Because the accusations, particularly against Alice Guo, really started because the puzzles don't fit together in her story, right? They're like being pieced together from different puzzle boards, and they just don't click. And that's precisely the reason why people are now really, angry, because how has the political situation in the Philippines been so bad that they've allowed this to happen? Again, some of the details I'm just not going to repeat. You can go watch my previous video. I'll put the link in the description, and you can go check it out. So basically, the Philippines asked the Chinese embassy, and they denied this. Okay, so that's that. And then this is another part of the story. It says, also this again is from that interview that I just showed you. It says, denies being a Chinese spy. I am a Filipino. I love my country. Okay. So on Monday, categorically denied she was a spy of China following her controversial appearance in the Senate that led senators to question her true nationality. Okay. Guo said that she is Filipino and denies that she was a Chinese asset. Okay, so again, here I'll do the translation first so that we can all... Okay, what I want to say is to all the public is that I am not a spy, I am Filipino, I love my own country, I am not an asset. And so here's the thing that I thought was pretty interesting, okay? Throughout the entire interview, she also said some stuff like she's going to ban pogos in the town of Bamban. But she never said that she was going to do anything about scam organizations and illegal groups involving Chinese people in the town. She didn't say anything about that, right? She just said, we're going to outlaw pogo as long as she is mayor. Okay, so she clearly still wants to be mayor. But the problem is not really the pogos themselves. Sure, you can argue that maybe the Philippines should find other ways for foreign organizations to do this without running into trouble with the law. But what's behind the pogo this time is what matters, right? Because there was a Chinese scam organization. And the reason why I say this is not because it came out of thin air. I had a friend that tells me when he first came to the United States, he was told that China had sent waves of beautiful girls outside, basically, honeypots. And it's very difficult for you to recognize who is who. I'm not saying that Alice Guo here is a definitive spy, but I am saying that there are more than one ways in which they can infiltrate a certain organization. Much easier probably for a scam organization that clearly wants protection from China, and China clearly has certain levels of authority over them, whether that's to deal with, the basic case of those Chinese people that were there, their citizenships, their passports, all of these things. Like, it doesn't take much for somebody to do something if it means, you have a lot of leverage over them, right? This isn't just applying to anybody from China, but this is a universal thing. But also the point is here, she says that she's Filipino, she loves her own country. Great, that's totally fine. I'm sure everybody would be happy to hear that, but you need to provide the documents, which I'm sure she has to do for the hearing on this Wednesday, which is in 2 days. Otherwise, I think the story would continue to boil over, because if she fails to provide or confirm her identity as a Filipino, who, according to the comments on my video, let me just show you here. I was reading some of the comments on my video. I was just kind of shocked that people, this is such a big thing, right? Let me go from the top here. So this one here says, asked where she was born. She says she was born at the farm of her father. And then she mentioned that she was homeschooled from elementary and high school, but she said she does not know the affiliated school or institution of her homeschool program. And asked if she has any diploma or certificate of finishing elementary or high school. She says she does not have such documents. Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but I think anybody would probably have at least one graduation certificate in their house. At least one, okay? And then she was also asked by Senator Gatchalian that if she knows how to speak Chinese. She answered just a little. But Hontivero said she had info that the mayor is fluent in Mandarin. So, and then another comment says most of the Chinese people that live in the Philippines speak, I think, is it Fukian? If I remember that correctly, Fukian, which is if I understand that, is Hokkien, which is a southern dialect from Fujian, and possibly Tagalog mixed, or again, correct me if I'm wrong, but a Mandarin speaker usually comes from the mainland or towards the northern side, right? So there's that, and then during the raid of the facility of the scam network, they found electrical bills with her names on it and a car registered to her name as well. So that, there's a Rolls Royce. She apparently also owns helicopters. Here, this is one that I thought was interesting, was that no Filipino child would forget his or her childhood, especially if they grew up in the Philippines. I can 100% confirm that. From the friends that I had, they all had a very distinct memory of their time in the Philippines, for good or worse, right? I have heard complaints about, the living conditions, or even just the food, how good it was, the type of experience they had, like they can go to different islands, etc., right? I've been told these stories from friends from the Philippines. So there's no way that if she grew up in the Philippines, especially if she had such a unique childhood that is raising pigs, I'm sure she basically will be able to remember most of it. Like I remember most of my childhood memories from China. Yeah, let me like that first. Some say that she has a Chinese accent. Again, I don't speak Tagalog, so I can't really tell the difference. What else is there? Yeah, so she said here that she got her helicopter and I guess now Rolls Royce from pig farming. Again, that's one of the questions. Right. Oh, yeah, that's also another point, which is that those scam networks can also be laundering money for somebody in China of importance. And it would be a really big problem if they were found out. So yeah, how the heck did she get a Rolls Royce and a helicopter from pig farming? I'm not saying that pig farming shouldn't be profitable, but I don't think it's a Rolls Royce helicopter level profitability. Otherwise, I think she'd have a multinational, or not even multinational, at least a famous one in the Philippines. Like everybody's buying pigs from her, which I don't think is the case. Someone says This may cause trouble and phobia for half Chinese and long-time Chinese in the Philippines. This can't be avoided. Yeah, so I think that's a great point. Again, this story, it should not be about targeting every single Chinese person in the Philippines, right? That's not how it works. It's because of her association. If she was associated with like the Russian mafia or the Italian mafia or whoever it was, right? Another criminal syndicate, then, that's obviously not trying to be racist towards that particular population. But here, the precise reason is because obviously there's the geopolitical tension between the Philippines and China. But this story is just, it's like writing itself, like all of the stuff could have been undone if she had provided those answers, which again, just out of pure rational, like normal thinking, you'd expect her to answer more than what she did. Let's see what else is here. Okay, so this one says, it's a huge deal here in the Philippines because there were a lot of high-profile cases where the black and white details of a candidate's nationality was a make or break for them running for office. Yet here, Guo, who remembers nothing, is a Chinese national, has a very shady background, and still won as mayor. It's a threat to our national security and a slap to the face as a Filipino. Thank you for covering this. So again, my only answer to this comment is that we still have to wait for the final investigation, right? I think the president, Marcos Jr., has said that they should to start investigating. I know there was a controversy about how she took photographs with Bamba Marcos Jr., but again, those, you can't really expect somebody to be implicated in a situation just because they took photo with someone, right? Stripping Alice Guo of authority over Bam Bam police. So now, the Department of Interior and local government recommended removing her authority over the police as mayor until the investigation is over, simply because, again, because of the connection to the scam network as a pogo front. Part of that is like I really wonder what the situation with the local law enforcement is, right? Could they be brought? Could they be bribed? Can the local election system be bribed and all these things? There's a lot I don't know, but I'm just speculating that the Pogos must have a lot of influence, especially if they have a lot of money going for them in that local area. I'm sure they have a lot of connections, who to talk to get things done. And Alice Guo, when she was a private citizen, she was able to ask the local government commission to allow the Pogo to have a place to build their operation. So it, money talks, right? So in most cases, if you can trace the money, I'm sure you can find more. So it just really depends on how serious the Filipino government wants this to be. Okay, so I think that about covers the analysis today. I think based on the new information, I'm still not convinced that she is a 100% Filipino who simply has no connection to China. At worst, I think she is the front of a scam organization that has extensive ties to China, which they will never admit, either side, right? So we'll just have to wait for the hearing on Wednesday to find out more, which I'm definitely going to be talking more about it after we get more information. But that's the latest so far and sort of my analysis on the pieces of information that we have. If you enjoyed the content, leave a like, comment below your thoughts, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, bye-bye.